You know, there are some creatures out there that feel like they're straight out of a myth. A creature so mysterious it completely blurs the line between ancient folklore and modern science. We're talking about a serpent-like giant that rises from the abyss and is said to carry warnings of impending doom. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the ocean's most fascinating inhabitants.
And that's the big question, isn't it? For centuries, people living near the coast have looked at this creature with this mix of total awe and, frankly, terror. But is it really a harbinger of disaster, or is there a scientific reason for its super rare appearances?
Okay, let's get right into it, because this isn't just some dusty old story. This literally just happened. Beachgoers down in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, had this absolutely wild encounter. Not one, but two of these massive deep-sea fish were seen struggling near the shore. I mean, that's an incredibly rare event, and it brought this ancient legend crashing right into our modern world.
So, to really understand why this sighting caused such a stir, we have to take a step back in time. See, the oarfish's reputation isn't new. It's totally steeped in centuries of folklore, especially in Japan, where it has this very specific and very ominous name.
In Japanese, they call it Ryugu no Tsukai, and that translates to messenger from the sea god's palace. Just from the name alone, you can feel the mythological weight of it, right? This isn't just a fish. It's seen as an envoy from some divine underwater kingdom. So the legend, which you can trace all the way back to the 17th century, tells of a sea god living in this magnificent palace on the ocean floor. The oarfish are his servants, and when they rise to the surface, they're not just lost or something. They are said to be delivering a message. And well, more often than not, that message is a warning about some kind of disaster.
And this belief, it became really deeply ingrained in the culture. The sight of this silvery, serpent-like creature in shallow water was taken as a direct omen. It meant the earth was about to shake or a tsunami was on its way. It's a really powerful and honestly a pretty terrifying piece of folklore.
But what if the messenger isn't from a god's palace, but from a world that's just as mysterious? The deep ocean. So it's time to meet the real creature behind the myth, Regalecus glesne, the giant oarfish. Let's see what science has to say about this so-called messenger.
First off, the legend got one thing absolutely right. This fish is gigantic. Oarfish are the longest bony fish in the entire world, and they can reach lengths of up to 30 feet. Seriously, that's almost as long as a telephone pole. Can you even imagine seeing that pop up next to your boat?
And they come from an environment that's as alien as another planet. Oarfish live way down in the Mesopelagic Zone, what they call the twilight zone, down to 3,000 feet below the surface. Sunlight barely even reaches those depths, which is exactly why seeing one at the surface is such a rare and significant thing.
So how does a creature this big even survive down there in the deep? Well, the oarfish has some truly unique adaptations. Its whole body, from its long ribbon-like shape and silvery skin for camouflage to its bright red fin, is just perfectly suited for life in the twilight zone. It hangs out vertically in the water, has these huge eyes to see in the dark, and just filter feeds on tiny krill. It's a master of its own world, but in a way that's completely different from the fish we're used to. All right, so we have the legend of a divine messenger on one hand, and then we have these scientific facts about a highly specialized deep-sea fish on the other. So how do these two stories really stack up against each other?
And here, the divide becomes crystal clear. The legend calls it a messenger of the gods. Reality identifies it as Regalecus glesne, the world's longest bony fish. The legend says it predicts earthquakes. Science shows it just lives peacefully in the deep sea. The legend sees an omen of disaster. Science sees a filter feeder, just playing its part in a really remote ecosystem.
So here's the crucial point. This is the definitive statement from the scientific community. Despite tons of studies and looking at all the data, there is absolutely no credible evidence, no correlation whatsoever that links oarfish appearing at the surface with earthquakes or any other natural disasters. The myth, as compelling as it is just not backed up by the facts.
But that leaves us with a really fascinating mystery. I mean, if they aren't bringing warnings, why do they surface? Are they sick? Injured? Maybe disoriented? Or could they get caught in strong, deep-sea currents that just push them upwards? The truth is, scientists don't have a solid answer yet. And that's what makes sightings like the one in Mexico so incredibly important. They aren't omens. They are priceless opportunities to study one of the ocean's greatest secrets. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The oarfish is just one creature from a world we've barely even begun to explore. If a 30-foot fish can remain such a mystery, What other marvels, what other incredible stories are waiting for us down there in the dark?